live and direct from the new planet Earth. Where pandemics are plenty, but the girls are still pretty in fashionable dresses. You know what I'm talking about. Where ignorance is bliss. You ain't gotta give a damn about no code.
Tell me who unleashed our animal instinct. Why the op standing there tickle pink? Have a drink, walking them up liquor. Shot of poison, one thicker. Somebody got some explaining to do. And the classic man is a danger to you. And me too, tatted on my forehead. Go home, go to bed. Yeah, I dread something wicked this way come. When the family unit is overrun. When the structure is undone by some new concoction. Now I walk softly and carry a big stick. Original gorilla in the midst.
Welcome back to another edition of the Franchise Podcast. I'm Joe Arrigo. With me is my brother, TQ.
Sipping on a little awa. What's up, Joseph? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, it's been a good weekend. We had high school football.
Yes.
UNLV played. It's
Yes.
the week that the NFL starts.
Yes.
And you didn't yell at me all weekend, so, I mean.
Yeah, because you was, I'm not going to move on. Start the show.
All right, Saturday, UNLV took on Bryant University at the Death Star for their opening game of the 2023 season. College football is back, and you hadn't been around them all year. You hadn't seen UNLV. You haven't been to a practice. You haven't been, since fall. You went to a spring game. Mm-hmm. What were your initial thoughts on UNLV?
Well, man, like admittedly, I'm more out of touch this season than I have been since we started covering them. I just have this belief in patience when it comes down to college football. I feel like you have to build a culture and you have to build and cultivate that culture and allow it to grow. I felt like firing the staff from last year was just a quick move, a little too quick for my taste. And I kind of stayed away this offseason because I knew you wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was your thing, and I know I could get the information from you. But I wanted to look at the team, look at the new regime with fresh eyes, and I had a chance to do that yesterday. I will say this about the offense, especially. I know it was vanilla. I know it was kind of a de facto preseason game for them. Mm-hmm. But there are some wrinkles there that I feel are gonna confuse some defenses in the Mountain West going forward. I really like the speed of the scheme. Being able to shoot from the other side, you get the reaction of the team and the coaching staff from the other side. They were completely confused. There was a lot of times where they couldn't get themselves together in enough time to figure out what to do next. Again, that's Bryant College. I'm not gonna put too much stock in it, but I like what I saw, man. And on top of that, the camaraderie, the relationships between the coaches and players for UNLV, I like what I see. I like that it seems in that short amount of time and, being away from practice puts me in a different position than I have been in previous years. A lot of it's new. It don't seem like it's new to them. It seems like they've all ingratiated themselves with the coaches and the system. So that part I like a lot.
One thing I found interesting is we texted periodically through the game, and you said this reminds you of the offense of the Houston Oilers with Jerry Glanville.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a good point. But you hit the nail on the head. This was a game where UNLV did not put a lot on tape, purposely, offensively or defensively. They weren't going to show anything. It was somewhat of a de facto preseason game. They wanted to get the wrinkles out. They wanted to make sure everything kind of was going. And there were some things that they got to keep in their back pocket for Mountain West play.
Yes.
As well as, for the upcoming game against Michigan and Vanderbilt and UTEP. So, to even do that, though, to run for 200, I think it was 285 yards.
Yeah.
To have, for instance, Jacob DeJesus's, it was his first reception in college football. He was came in motion and came back, and it was this little shovel pass.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's moving one way. It was almost like a counter.
Yeah.
Like, you could see that Bryant University was just totally lost with it.
Totally. They were lost. They was totally lost with a lot of the game.
Exactly. Now, the defense, where I would like to see improvement, and I think it comes in time, because they didn't do the exotic blitzes.
Right.
Other than Jure, who the Bayou Boy is a new nickname. Woo, a new nickname for Jure Williams. The honcho of havoc, so
yeah, he's running around wreaking it, man. I think that's a good spot for him. Let him roam, let him do what he does best. Let him play loose, let him play fast. Yeah, if he stays healthy, he's gonna be able to do some things this year in this scheme.
Absolutely, but I would like to see the run fits tighten up.
Agreed.
That would be the one. If I could be overly critical,
yes,
that would be
not overly critical. It's like Bryant shouldn't have been able, and I get it. That's probably not the kind of offense they're going to be seeing
exactly
this season. I understand that, but still, that school shouldn't have been able to run that much.
Well, I talked to people in and around the program after the game, and they said that Bryant's offense, their quarterback actually was really, really good. They think that he probably should be playing at a higher level.
Okay.
And that this offense is, and not in a bad way, it was more like a high school offense, where a lot of trickeration, a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So unconventional things.
Things that they're not going to see in the Mountain West.
Or anybody else that they play this year.
Else. Yeah, makes sense.
Michigan's not going to do any of that. We know what Michigan's going to do.
Yeah, we sure do. Boy.
It'd be nice to upset them, though. I'm just saying. But
it would be nice.
The group that impressed me the most, though, and I wrote about it in particular in the recap, is the special teams group.
Oh, yeah.
Got to credit James Shebest, the special teams coordinator. Coach Odom called him the best in any level. That's one of the reasons why he hired him. And it's hard.
Really?
It's hard to argue. He came from Beamer ball, and
it's a premium on special teams down there, man.
it is. And Coach
Always has been.
And that was one of the things I liked about what Coach Odom did when he got hired. He put an emphasis on special teams, and you've seen it. And it wasn't necessarily what Jacob did with his kick return, which is
pretty damn nice.
Which is a UNLV record, 96 yards, the longest
work.
play without scoring a touchdown.
Hey, shouts out to that number 4. That was a hell of a tackle at the 8.
Hey,
wow.
You know what? Seneca McKee owes Jacob a dinner or lunch or something.
Take him out. Take him out. Buy him a steak. Come on, man.
All you gotta do is run a little bit to the right and he scores. I'm just saying, Sandy. But what I was most impressed with was the coverage units, how fast they got down and how sure tackling they were.
Yes.
So credit Coach Shebest, Coach JB as well, who's now on staff in that regard, helping him as an assistant.
Yeah.
So those two guys did a great job with special teams. This week, UNLV will take on Michigan. Here's some news that nobody really knows, though. And I've seen it all in the Twitter sphere, social media, Xverse, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
People talking about Doug Brumfield, right, and how Doug had a not so good game, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason behind that.
Do tell.
Nobody knows this. I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna tell
Insider information from Joe Arrigo, UNLV football insider.
Now, you're an aficionado when it comes to working out, and we've talked to some people that, some of the brains when it comes to performance and whatnot, right?
Yes.
Have you ever felt so strong that you have to figure out how to rein it in and kind of maybe use that strength?
Absolutely. There's times when I'm going heavy and I pick up a glass and yeah, absolutely.
Not a
It's
plastic
happened
cup.
to
I
many,
mean,
See, hey, this what I'm talking about, you have no idea of, big boy. Leave it to us. You understand?
Well, that's how Doug feels. This is for the first time in Doug's career here at UNLV. He's completely healthy. He has a lot of injury prevention that he's working on. He is the strongest he has ever been. So he has to get used to having that strength on some of them touch passes. I mean, he overthrew, I want to say Ricky White. I want to say he overthrew Seneca. There's a couple balls that he wishes he would have had back.
The majority of them was long, so that makes a whole lot of sense. Here's the thing. I felt like coming out, they was hyped. It's like they've been starving to get on that Allegiant Stadium field. Like, you can tell they were starving for it. That's a good point. That makes a whole lot of sense to me. But I think a lot of it, for a lot of them, this was the jits, man. It's just the jits of the first game. I don't put too much into it, but I will say this much. Thug ain't got long. He's got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? He's got to grow into them new muscles, man. Because with the competition coming up, a lot of those overthrows are going to end up pick sixes.
I think Doug will be just fine.
I do too. All hail Dougie B. Gonna be just fine. Sarah Man.
First play of the game, VD, Vincent Davis.
Pew!
What I like, this balance he had at the end.
Lovely.
He
Lovely.
only had 3 carries, 2 more carries the rest of the game. He ran for 79 yards.
Come on, man. I mean, look, they got some weapons. They got some speed in the areas where they need to have speed at. And again, I think once this scheme comes all the way out, it's not easy to fool me with a camera. It's just not. I got fooled a couple of times.
I've seen some people you date. It fools you right with the camera.
You know what? I'm not gonna be mean right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and take that and go ahead and deal with it. I'm gonna let Lil Man. I'm gonna let Lil Man do what he does. Cause we was at an event the other night. Shouts out to my man Johnny from the Foundation Room. Look, man, you got down the other night. You got a beautiful voice. You got a great damn band. Y'all killed it. But this kid here got loose in the joint the other night, man, and he acted up. And that's all I'm gonna say. No, I will say this. He acted up after a certain thing happened in the place. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Johnny, great job, lad. For real. That performance was something that was different.
Yeah, that was good, man. That was good. It's like, I love live music, and it's hard to get me going in a live set unless it's just some beautiful musicianship going on. And that's what we saw in there that night.
You know what I liked about it too? Not to stay on that. We'll get back to the game in a second, but the fact that everybody was dressed appropriately, the fact that it's a live band, and it was like the jazz infused. It was jazz infused, and I
mean, he was singing Sinatra and Tony Bennett and some of the OGs, but like that's some of the best musicianship. Like you got an upright bass sitting there with the keyboard and the drums and the guitar, and then the front man knows how to handle it. I loved it. It was great night, and I had my crew in the building, all my homegirls from Cali. They set it off. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it. Understand? Bring us. We're the fun bunch.
Oh Lord. You talk about the front man, and the Rebels have a front man in Barry Odom.
Yes.
And it was the first time that you got a chance to see Coach Odom do what he does, you know, for a career. I don't want to say he does best because he's a great father, I would assume, and great husband. So when you see Coach Odom out there and how we maneuver and stuff, how did you feel? Like, what was your impressions of Coach Odom?
Professionalism. Somebody who's done it before at the highest levels. You can just tell that he comes from a big program. He runs UNLV like a big program. That's no knock to the previous coaches, but we had a great high school coach who assumed the position. Then we had a great offensive coordinator who assumed the position, and it's just totally different when you have a head coach from a big school come and take the position. The thing runs differently, and just that level of professionalism in a game like this when you have so much to show. You know what I'm saying? It was his first time on the field too. To be able to keep the discipline, understanding that, look, we don't need to put a lot of stuff on tape here, but also manage the expectations of how his team was going to perform.
Right.
We understand they got a lot to work on, right? And I believe they'll be working feverishly this week to have a showing at Michigan. That's all you need to do. You just need to come out and play hard and stay healthy. That's what it's about. And I think that the team is ready to do that. It's good, man. Again, this is my first time not having a personal connection to the team going into the season, so I could look at it without objectivity. And I like what I see so far. It's just you got somebody who completely knows what they're doing, and there's not a learning curve going on that you had with
Tony or Marcus.
Or Marcus, exactly.
Well, I'll say that Barry is the first coach to win his opening game as a UNLV head coach, I believe, since Tony back in 2016. And the margin of victory was I believe the second or the largest margin of victory since Ron Meyer got his first win as a head coach against what is now Arkansas State.
Damn.
That's according to Mark Wallington, the SID. It's in the recap, the official what it is that I wrote for Franchise Sports Media. Go check that out. All right, to put a bow on it, the game itself. But pre-game, I'm there with Mia, and we're doing her live shot and whatnot, or her shot for the franchise, and I'm seeing underneath the flame, the workers are putting a bunch of pellets in the end zone, black pellets. I'm like, what's this about, right? Then during the game, we started hearing it sounded like probably 10,000 drummers just.
Man, it sounded like a Raider game. It was so loud in that joint.
And we're looking up, and you can literally see the rain hitting the top of the roof. Then you look out past the flame, and you see the strip just engulfed with heavy winds and heavy rain. Yeah. And I look, and you can see the roof is leaking. So I text you. I said, "Yo, the roof's leaking." And you look. I see you looking around, and I'm like, right in front of you. And then you look, and then you see it.
Well, no, I saw it the first time. That was the second big rain band that came through when they delayed the game. So I was walking. One photographer was coming. He's like, "Oh, I just got wet." I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, it's leaking right there." So I saw a couple of drops. I didn't think nothing of it. But then when you text me, it was the second time, and I think that one might have been a bigger rain band. And I mean, yo, listen, the rain that we've been having out here over the last week, I've never seen nothing like it. Never. I've spent time in the Pacific Northwest. I was born on the Gulf Coast, and over here the other day, man, you could not see out of the window. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. We was talking about it last week about how Mother Nature is just going crazy, and everything is just going to be more intense going forward. Well, these storms out here have been intense. This is a couple of weeks into monsoon season. We've never seen it like this. So, that's a multi-billion-dollar stadium, but it's built for the middle of the desert. It's not in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? It's not in New Orleans. So, I don't think we'll have that kind of rain on a regular basis. And it held up, but it did cause a 10-minute delay in the game. I don't necessarily know why.
In that 10 minutes, they carted the player from Bryant off. That was such a bad injury. You could hear him screaming from the press box.
I was standing there, man. I was standing there watching it, and he got caught in the air. One person up top, one person at the bottom. He got spent and helmet to the knee. Yeah. And it was just ugly, man. You could see the pain, and you could see where his foot was twisted out, and that's that ACL sign. I don't know. Hopefully that's not what it was.
There's no more. I don't think there's any more CLs left in the kney. Boy. ACL, PCL, MCL, Pete Rock and CL smooth. I don't think there's anything there.
Good Lord, stop it. But I actually was riding. I was standing next to him when they actually took him off, and it looked like the swelling had started, and it was rough. One of his family members came down to the edge of the stands as he was driving by to ask him what it was. And he just looked up. He said, "It's the knee. It's the knee." Shook his head, cried, and put the towel over. This is the worst part about the game that we cover, man. And being so close to it, a lot of times I'm trying to be where the play is going, right? And so I've had my fair share of seeing injuries and hearing them.
Well, the thing is, I think it's what today's football is. You can't hit them high because of concussion. So either you hit them low, where you can bring them down, or you risk getting ran over and then losing a job or being on someone else's highlights. So
exactly. And then let's just tell the truth. Everybody wants to be cute. Nobody wants to use knee pads. Nobody wants to be restricted by the knee pads anymore because it don't look fresh. So these are the kind of things that happen when you put all of those things together.
Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to number 84 for Bryant.
Yes.
And back to the rain, I also have a theory about that. It's TQ's fault the rain is the way it is. Tell you why right now.
Shut up.
So on Friday, you go back to last week's show, you hear, oh, I finally get to shoot high school football. I couldn't be here last week. The last week before it was all the rain, blah, 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 blah. Well, we're sitting here getting ready to shoot the Gorman Miami Central game. And it's like me and Ann are going to get there about 5 o'clock. And it opens up again, the skies that is. And then TQ decides, you know what? Trish and I are going because it's raining.
First of all, time out. I am not the creative director for this company.
So you're going to put it on Trish?
I am not in charge of the cameras for this company. Trish is in charge of them. I did help pay for them. And if we would have took them out there in the rain, we wouldn't be doing this show right now because all of the cameras would be trashed out. This guy doesn't care, all right?
Not true.
I'm not taking the chance. There's no telling. This weather out here has been wild. Just for us to get from where we had to park into the stadium, and this is for all the Bishop Gorman kids because I talked to a lot of y'all. A lot of y'all figured we was gonna be there to get y'all highlight of the year. You knew you was gonna whoop on Miami Central, and we wasn't there to cover it. Look, business decision, all right? We'll be there this week unless it rains like that again because we're just not gonna risk it with the equipment. That being said, it seems like every time we leave, the damn rain stops. Boy.
Oh yeah. So I'm a.
We set out. Wait a minute. Not finished. You set this up. You blamed it on me. Hold up. We sat outside for 2 hours. For 2 hours, waiting for the rain to stop. The rain wouldn't stop. Once we finally called it, we were looking on the radar. The radar kept changing, watching the rain come this way, go that way, blah blah blah. We made an executive decision to say, hey, let's keep our stuff dry. We got UNLV to shoot tomorrow. We got Raiders to shoot. We got Aces to shoot. And high school football will be around all year. Bishop Gorman is going to continue to whoop on teams, and we'll catch it at some point. We apologize, fellas. Now, go ahead. Yeah, do your thing.
You done now?
Go ahead, finish.
Well,
I'm going to talk some trash
well,
anyway.
since he decided, hey, we're not going to do this because of the rain, Aunt, me, Mia, and Alon Soul braved the rain. That's how they got that picture of Devin Rice just laying out for the rock.
Hey,
Alon
does what he does. Alon always does what he does.
Yes, he does.
It's about time you did something.
So we're sitting there and we braved the 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the rain. We weren't in the rain. You know where we were? We were in the ATC. Inside were Gorman trains. And we were dry. That's where we were. And you know who else was in there? Gorman legends. Gorman legends were there. So,
I like that.
One of the things that being in there and having trust of the school, they let you in on certain things, right? So, Tate Martell, Bubba Bolden.
Tater Tot was there, huh?
Yes.
Nice.
Haskell Garrett, Alex Perry, Tyjon Lindsley, Nico Ali Walsh.
Ring King.
Hey, Nico looks like, man.
Really?
And I seen Bob and Rashid at the man.
Yeah.
Nico and Biagio, man, they're running them ragged, but those guys are killing it on the combat sports circuit for boxing and mixed martial arts.
Nice.
But the who's who of Gorman was there watching this game. And then the other thing that was pretty cool was you seen all the little kids. You seen the young kids, about 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that were in there. And they're in awe, but they're like trying to work out or whatever. So all the Gorman players, you know what they were doing?
They better have been locked in.
They were standing there watching the rain by the equipment, some getting on the elliptical bikes, riding them, going back into the locker room, barely talking to anybody. They say what's up, but they know you.
Good.
But they're locked in. So about 7:45-ish, the official comes in and they got the head coach from Miami Central. So I kind of slide over there, real slick, like from me to you. And they're doing the coin toss.
Yeah.
Gorman wins the toss. They get the ball. Or Miami wins, Gorman gets the ball first. It was on. They said they had till about 10 o'clock to play the game.
Okay.
And then, because they would have had to try to play it Saturday, but Miami's flight would have left. So after that, we get out to the field. When we get out there, it's bone dry. It didn't rain. It stopped raining. When they said it's go time, there was a drizzle. Stop. God said, I want to see this game.
Period.
So we're out there, and the Miami Central DB coach starts woofing at the Gorman players.
At the players?
The players. To the point to where Gorman coaches are like, man, shut up. Like, take all that talk back over there. Don't talk to our guys. And he's woo, 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 woo. To the point. Now, we all know Big Ant. Ant's a gentle giant, right?
Yeah.
We never seen Ant get loose.
No.
He got an Ant's grill.
Really?
Like, literally got up. Ant was like, blah, 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 and went like this. Whoop. Oh, little dude.
Oh, y'all got active before
Dude
the
was
game,
like
huh?
my size, and it was like, man, back up. Like, stop talking to the kids.
Yeah.
Then the dude starts, there's two guys on Gorman's team I would never in my life talk any trash to. Roy Otis, the running back coach, and Larry Grant, the linebacker coach.
Yeah, leave them big people alone. Leave Ant big ass alone, man. Don't, like, pick somebody else to talk to. Crazy, at least.
Well, dude was woofing at Larry, and LG wasn't having it.
I'm sure.
LG was like, man, take your butt back over there to that side. Man, you and he said, oh, he had the greatest line ever. He was like, I'm the wrong one you be talking to. When someone tells you I'm the wrong one, just take heed, folks. Just know that I'm gonna leave this guy alone.
Look, man, that's Florida football, man. That's just what it is. It's a religion down there. They do it year round. They don't stop. And you know, when you talk to the coaches out here in Las Vegas, public school coaches out here, it's the same thing with the ones around the country. Miami Central is one of the few public schools ranked nationally, and you know they have regulations on the players that they can play with. They have to abide by rules that academies and parochial schools like Bishop Gorman don't have to, and they kind of wear that as a badge of honor because it makes them it upsets them. They all feel like you know they have an unfair disadvantage versus all of these academies and all of these schools like Gorman, who basically can recruit and bring families from across the nation to come and play for these teams. Trash talking is a part of Florida football. Well, Florida football believes that they are better than all the rest of us, not just out west. They believe they're better than Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Louisiana. Also, they believe that they are the home of football. Period. So I mean, you know, I could see that, and to come out here. You know, they're so misinformed about. I was watching the game on a Florida feed that Ant had sent me, and it was mostly Florida people commenting, mostly Florida people talking about the game, watching the game, and it's like they're just so misinformed, like they don't really understand what it is football at Bishop Gorman. Like they don't get it.
The trash talking started earlier in the week with their head coach, who this is his second year as the coach. He was the D coordinator for him. And he came out and said that Gorman has a date with destiny, that they're going to be lying in bushes like snipers, picking them off. And I mean, you can name it. And it went on all week. And they're posting it on social media. Yeah. Well, Gorman got a hold of it. And one of the players sent a thing. He's just holding up like a piece of paper and was like, have a date with destiny. And he's just smiling at the paper like, you know. And then they all started sending the Bud Crawford pick coming out with the fishnet. Yeah, they all were. That was their whole thing. So it started then, but I think that goes to the game now, because when you see that game, Miami Central made a couple of head scratching calls and did a couple of things that were head scratching, and I don't know if it was arrogance or stupidity, and I think it may be a little bit of both. Yeah. So the first one is,
I mean, you're pretty stupid to be arrogant playing Bishop Gorman.
And they're ranked number 2 and they beat you.
That's just stupid.
Okay, so there's you know. So the first one is they're quarterback number 11.
Yeah.
Big guy. He's about 6'5", 220.
Beast.
Can run. Can't throw.
Can't throw, but he's a beast of a high school football, you know.
They didn't play him at all in the first half.
Yeah.
Comes out in the second half for the first 2 possessions, and they score.
And people were calling for him. On the feed that I was watching, they was calling for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're like, where's this guy at?
Yeah.
So then they take him out and they put him in another 2. Then the last possession that he was in was after Gorman had given the ball up. They put him in to kind of run the clock out. Gorman gets the stop.
Yeah.
And this is where the arrogance, I believe, comes in. Instead of punting the ball, pinning Gorman back, or maybe just kicking it over the ATC,
making sure he got some more field to run.
They try to kick a 52-yard field goal?
Dumb.
That
was stupid, man.
I don't get it.
Made no sense whatsoever.
I've coached a long time. I don't get it.
It's like you said, it's either arrogance or stupidity or a bit of both.
No, I think this is where, and I got to credit Craig Canfield, Gorman's offensive coordinator, he called a hell of a game. I don't know if I've seen him call a better game than what he called against Miami Central.
That guy does a pretty good damn job for the time that we've been covering him.
How do you go 80 yards in 27 seconds?
I mean, hey, man. Look, I think that defensively, I think Gorman saw something with Miami Central defensively early, some things that they could exploit. And I think that particular drive, Canfield absolutely exploited those things. But it's like you guys said. I don't know if I ain't gonna say it's better than taking them, but this offense is gonna hum because that offensive line are some maulers. Y'all was right. I haven't seen none of their practices either. But boy, like that's gonna be tough to deal with. The Miami schools aren't necessarily known. They're more known for their skill positions and speed. But that toughness in the middle, and it's like I feel like that was the thing that was missing last year in that Modern Day game. That's how Modern Day was.
Well, they were all sophomores then.
Right, and so things change. You know, kids grow between that sophomore and junior year.
They got another year together.
And they got another year together. So I mean, you know, if I say anything about Gorman, it's that that defense, they got to do some work. Because I feel like people are going to score more points on them this season than they have in the past.
To stay on that line for a second, this Miami Central D-line is probably the best Gorman's going to play all year. They have the #1 defensive end in the country, number 18. He got shut down.
Yeah.
They shut him down. I don't know if he made a play all game.
Yeah, I ain't seeing.
And to your point, the defense, number 32, freshman, gave up one big play, but he's a freshman.
Yeah.
You look at what Marco Coleman did, number 7. Marco played a hell of a game. And then Devin Rice. Mentioned him earlier.
Yes.
Devin Rice is a cat corner. He's a running back, receiver. He's just an athlete. Put him in that corner. Game-sealing interception.
Yes.
But
snatched it.
Going back to that final drive, though, credit Derek Meadows on that first play with the big play. Great ball by Michael Alejado to him. Then you look at the play that brought him inside the 2-yard line. Elijah Lofton. The best tight end in the country, showed why he is carrying dudes down, and then goes down and he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Boy, I don't want to jinx it, but if I see NFL-ready high school football player, boy, that's him right there.
So credit Gorman. This week they got Corona Centennial. It's our game of the week. We'll be there, barring any rain. Well, I'll be there. Ant will be there.
Ant? The cameras won't if it's raining like it
That's
was
what
raining.
I said, Gar. That's why I'm looking over like.
Well, take out your damn phone and shoot some footage then, since you want to keep talking about rain. You want to jam up our cameras. Here, there you go. Shoot it with that.
You won't like it. You already don't like the way I shoot. Yeah. So that's this week, 7 o'clock. If you don't make it out, it is on ESPNU. So make sure you come out for that. Come out and support Gorman against a team, top 20 team in the country. High-scoring team, Corona Centennial, coming out here, leaving California to play somebody for the first time in school history.
Boy, I mean, you know, California high school football, we like to call that scared. That's all I got to say about it.
I ain't saying that. I know Centennial. It's going to be a hell of a game, so make sure you guys come out for that. All right, it's the week that we've been waiting for. Week 1 of the NFL, and the Silver and Black travels to the Mile High City to take on Russell Wilson, or Mr. Sierra, and the Broncos.
Listen.
Let's ride.
I'm not, I don't, on the field, like I'm not a Russell Wilson fan at all, okay? Just not. But I am a Sean Payton fan. I've watched Sean Payton do his work up close and personal. And I'm just not going to believe that the Russell Wilson that we saw last year is going to be the same Russell Wilson this year because of Sean Payton. He's not going for that. And that team, I think that we lost how talented they were last year because of the Russell Wilson problem or the Hackett problem. What was the guy? Who was it? The coach? Yeah, Hackett. Whatever that was, I think that was just a outlier. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to be back to the Broncos. So the Raiders got to come out there firing on all cylinders because I believe that Sean Payton feels like he has something to prove. And the stage is set. It's a rivalry game. We've been giving it to them the last couple of years.
Should still give it to them this year too. What are we talking about?
You know, hopefully it'll happen again. But I just believe I believe in the AFC West and how tough it's going to be. I don't believe that the Chargers are going to end up with everybody hurt. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and I'm expecting the Raiders and the Broncos to both make significant steps forward. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be orange. It's going to be loud. It's at the Mile High Stadium. It's not going to be easy to play in. So, you know, get ready for some smash mouth football. And it's two offensive guys who have two separate systems. So the defensive coordinators in this game got to really show up.
Wait a minute. Rewind what you just said. You believe the Raiders are going to be better than what people thought they are?
Unlike Bishop Gorman, unlike UNLV, I've been watching the Raiders. So as they progress, my thoughts on them can change. I haven't watched anything from any of those other schools because I've spent most of my time watching the Raiders. And I've watched the Raiders get progressively better from the beginning of training camp until now. I'm seeing the things that are happening. I looked at the team, the guys that they let go, the guys that they kept. Listen, I've been asking for the Raiders to do a certain thing for years. You're not going to understand because I've said this before. You're a Green Bay fan. You're not a Raider fan. You don't know anything about the Raiders when it really comes down to it.
But hold on, wait. I didn't mention anything about Jimmy.
Finish, please?
I didn't mention anything.
Can I finish?
But you always throw Green Bay up at Green Bay in this morning.
You weren't a season ticket holder. You weren't there every week to Coliseum. You took how many trips to Oakland in the whole time that they was there? 0. You didn't go to no training camps in Napa. You did none of that. You didn't care when the tuck rule happened.
You didn't
care. It meant nothing to you. You had a problem with Charles Woodson because he was from Michigan and you're a Wisconsin guy.
I'm not a Wisconsin fan.
It is what it is, man. You're not going to see things the way I'm going to see it. Me and you guys, he's not a part of us. So your way of looking at things is going to be one way. Mine is going to be something else. I'm emotionally, physically, mentally invested in the silver and black. That's what it is. So I've watched, and I've watched. I did not like the Josh Jacobs Patriot way. The Josh McDaniels Patriot way. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that we held out our all-pro running back until the last 5 seconds. And now you got to get his little belly off and all of this other stuff. I ain't like none of that. I thought that could have been handled better than that, right? But here we are. And what I've seen from the beginning of training camp to now is a team that's deep. I see a scheme that we've already seen work in a situation where you have somebody who knows how to run it. I'm expecting the Raiders to do better than what they did last year and better than what I thought they would do coming into this year. I still say, before it becomes time to contend for a championship, they're going to need another draft. And my issue with the whole situation was this move knocked us back a year. We should have been able to play the Super Bowl in our stadium just like the last 2 years did, and that's probably not going to happen. That being said, it's all about competing in the AFC West, and I see the Raiders doing that, and I see that starting in Denver with a win. Close game, but a win.
Sounds to me like you changed your tune with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler.
Yeah, I have. Because when you come in and do the exact things that I've been asking for on this show and every other franchise sports media piece of Raider content, I got to give you your props. They came in and shored up the defensive line. That's what I wanted. They came in, they brought in an actual, bona fide, good middle linebacker. When the last time we had one of them? I ain't talking, look, Denzel.
Kurt Morrison, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a long time, right? So that allows guys like Nate Hobbs. That allows Trayvon Merrick, Divine Diablo to be themselves. Like those guys are Swiss Army knives. They can do different things on the field, but you got to put them in the places where they can perform best. I think that the additions on the defense from this year will allow that. I think that, I've said it before, defensive line, Give me 7, 8, 9, 10 guys that can rotate in and out over and over again, because I'm just under the belief the fourth quarter of an NFL game, the offensive line is tired. You give them some fresh legs on the defensive line, and you win games right there. The Raiders have never had the opportunity to do that. We've seen Super Bowl appearances, we've seen Super Bowl wins all the way back to the Giants with the OCs and the straight hands, all the way to the Niners now, like the Patriots. Like that's the way you do it. You got to have a bunch of defensive linemen that are strong, fast, and rangy. And this is the first time that the Raiders look like they have it. If they stay healthy, then hey, that's the building block of the squad. It ain't the quarterback, it ain't the left tackle, it's the defensive line. That's what's gonna get you to the promised land. And I see that they've made, they put a premium on that being the center of this defense. And the problem with the Raiders, it hasn't been offense, man. It just hasn't. We've just needed a serviceable defense. Somebody who's not gonna give up 30 points every game. I don't see that happening this year. I think this will be the best defense that we've seen in probably a decade.
What moves did they make at the cutdown date that either surprised you or upset you?
I don't think it was about upset or surprise. I think that I felt like some guys would perform better and earn a spot in during training camp, but they were just outworked. And that just goes to show that overall, bottom to the top, the quality of players on the Raiders this year has been an uptick. And that's just kind of what it is. Guys that I thought would make the team couldn't make the team. Especially our wide receiver room. I felt like this was the year for Keelan. He didn't make it again.
Call, yeah.
I thought Philip Dorsett would come in and be a valuable asset. Couldn't make the team. So, I don't think it's necessarily about those players. It's about the other guys that they brought in that were just simply better.
Well, I look at it like I was surprised. I was surprised with Adam Plant Jr., APJ, not making the practice squad. I would love to have seen it.
Rough. That's rough.
Got a chance to watch him at Gorman and UNLV and for him. And I know he's, upset, but I thought he would be one that would make the practice squad.
I think he probably should have just stayed in school one more year, man.
I don't disagree with that.
That goes to show, just what we was just talking about, for him not to have made even the practice squad just shows you the quality of defensive linemen that this team has to have at this point, which, that part of it makes me feel good. It's bittersweet because I believe he has the talent. I've liked him ever since he got to UNLV. Just a raw player that just needed to be cultivated a little bit. But it just goes to show, man, this Raiders team is I think he'd have made last year's team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Any surprise players for you this year?
I think we're going to see that Merrick that we fell in love with 2 years ago. I think Diablo is going to be able to do his thing. Nate Hobbs is going to be able to do his thing. I haven't seen much of the rookie, but from everything that I've heard, he's a beast. And as that foot gets better, we're going to see really what they did with that first round pick.
I got something for you with him.
What's that?
I think Tyreek Wilson wins the AFC or the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year.
What?
I just see it. Look, he's explosive, he's big, he's powerful. He has everything you want in an edge rusher. You look at him opposite of Max Crosby. He fits. Max is, like, as you talked about in past shows, Max's speed. He's more physical power, but he can,
He also has some speed.
And yeah, exactly. And his length and his size. And if you go back into the show before the draft, when you asked, like, who would I take?
Yeah.
He was the guy.
Yeah, he said it.
He was the guy. So I think he's going to get better as the year goes on because of his foot. I think he's going to get healthier as the year goes on. And the other name, and you mentioned Morig, to me it's Epps. He allows him to play that. And
Agreed.
Again, what I love about him and Spillane and some of the other guys that they brought in, they're coming from winning organizations that change the culture, change the locker room.
Yes.
And we always talk about their smarts, but they understand what it takes to win a game. Yes. So that's the reason why I think the Raiders are going to take a huge jump. Look, don't let Patrick Mahomes get hurt. Seriously. The Raiders have a chance. I mean, look, you can make the argument. The Chargers defense on paper is phenomenal. They got names.
Phenomenal.
You look at
and they've been hurt.
And the Raiders offense has names.
Yes.
So if the Chargers are healthy, Raiders healthy, and Mahomes gets hurt, one of those teams is going to be trying to win the division. I disagree with you on Denver completely. I think Sean Payton, the league has caught up with him. I think Russell Wilson holds the ball too long. He's not the same guy he once was. He's bought into a different lifestyle, and he's kind of feeling himself a little too much, rubbed teammates the wrong way. If your teammates don't believe in you, yeah, good luck trying to win them back over. You have to earn that. He earned it in Seattle. I feel like he got to Denver and he kind of was like, this is my way. This is how I do it. So get on my back. But it really wasn't, the move.
He did that for a year. He was able to do that for a year. He ain't going to do that with Sean Payton.
Well, we'll see.
Not
but again,
happening.
Sean Payton, as much as we talked about before, as much as Sean Payton gets all this credit for what he's won one Super Bowl with the quarterback that is a Hall of Fame quarterback with an offense that he's a genius of, but yet he only won the one. We talk about other
Reminds me
coaches.
of the Packers.
Exactly. You talk about them like that, you might as well talk about Sean Payton like that. So without all that being, even Kyle Shanahan, because he doesn't have a Super Bowl and he's been there a couple times. With all that being said, I think the Raiders have an outside chance to win the division. I think if Mahomes gets hurt, they have a chance to win the division. I think they're going to be playing for a wild card spot. And and once you get into the postseason, it's a whole new season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to have a lot to do with geography, man. I don't know if they can win enough games to have playoff games at home in the Dome that time of year. So we'll see. We'll see. If you have to travel to Cincinnati or you have to travel to Kansas City or any of these places in December, it's just, it ain't going to be easy.
Cincinnati's going to have the best record in the AFC.
I don't doubt that.
They're different.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
I give them credit. I was wrong about their head coach.
Yeah, you were.
I can admit I thought he was just a McVay guy. Let's just give this guy, I was wrong about him.
And then not only that, man, look, that quarterback is something. That quarterback is
Joey
something.
B.
This guy's something else, man. So you're gonna have to deal with the Bengals for a while going forward. That kid stays healthy, or if he comes back, okay. Because it's kind of weird listening to his injury situation. It sounds like they're being a little
cautious.
Yeah, about that whole situation. So I hope he comes back healthy though, because I like to watch him play.
Oh,
I really do.
I would like to take him and Jimmy out to dinner one night, some platters.
Yo, bro. You know what's gonna happen? Check this out. Girlfriend, moms, grandmoms, daughter. We all need to get on a Zoom and we need to talk about our friend here because he needs to get his act together. He's getting a little bit too loose. You understand? Reel it back in there, buddy.
Well, you'll be with us.
Stay off the platters.
You'll be with us eating platters.
All right, take all that back.
Man, look, so Burning Man took place over the weekend.
Yeah.
Did you seen the weather, right?
It's a mess.
Horrible. 70 people or 70,000 attendees were stuck in the mud, literally, including Diplo and Chris Rock. Did you see that?
Yeah, they say they had to walk 6 miles or something in ankle deep, knee deep mud. Are you serious? And then they get picked up on the side of the road by some fans or something in a pickup truck.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. But I wouldn't go to Burning Man to save my life first and foremost out in the middle of the desert. It's North of Reno, right?
Look,
nobody would have known that it was going to rain like that. I get it. But even if it was dry and hot, it just never was a thing that I've ever intended to attend or experience at all.
But if they paid you to perform in it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's different. That's a bit different. You put all that rain and we had on top of that, man, that was a mess. They said they had no working toilets in the whole joint, a bunch of mud all over the place. You couldn't get in, you couldn't get out. They closed the place to auto traffic. So you got RVs and trucks. People go out there and camp out, man, and they just stuck. And they're still stuck. They don't imagine that they're going to get out of there till Monday night.
So, wait, it's mud and there's no bathrooms. No. How do they know it's actually mud then?
Exactly. This is my point. it probably look like mud when it's not raining.
Yeah. So Mr. Performer, you've traveled the world. You've been to places that only people can dream about being. I think inquiring minds want to know, out of all the tours you've been on, been a part of, artists you performed with, what's a good story when it comes to concerts? What's the wildest concert situation you've been a part of?
Well, we're not going to talk about that one because it's not for young ears and we might get banned. So, but I will say this: I was opening act for the Up and Smoke tour. It was Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Mac 10, Dub C, Eminem, Warren G,
Dog Pound,
the East Siders. If I left anybody out, Exhibit, and myself. And I got a little mannish on the last night. I felt like I had accomplished something heavy. I felt like I had been on the greatest hip hop tour of all time for 44 nights. I was the opening act, and it was all culminating in this one night in Denver. It was the last night. And don't drink and drive. How about that? I would come on stage in a go-kart every night, right? This last particular night, we had acquired, some way, a case of Hennessy. This case of Hennessy was not for us, but we got it some kind of way. And every night, Dre and Snoop would come on stage with bottles of Hennessy, and they would just be turning up Hennessy while they performing. And, you know, we young, we looking at them like, yeah, we want to do that. So the last night, we saved some Hennessy bottles. Look, everybody gets a Hennessy bottle tonight, and we go on stage. Well, by the time I get to the stage, I'm drunk as a skunk. I come out of my go-kart, I drive from one side of the stage all the way to the other side of the stage, smack dab into the soundboard, bust my go-kart up, bust up the soundboard. I got the sound man over here cussing at me. I got the production guy over here cussing at me. I got on a Timberland boot and it's stuck between the gas pedal and the smashed up front of the go-kart. So I can't get my foot out. Ben and D-Mac are already on stage doing my song. I haven't even got out of this wreck that I'm in. And then I have to do the whole song, the whole performance, wasted. So I got 28 minutes worth of show to do. I'm wasted beyond. I'm so glad that this was before social media because I don't necessarily remember how terrible it was, but I know it had to be one of the worst performances I ever gave. I
mean, I know everywhere you went on tour, Invisible Man had a camera, videotaping everything. This is documented.
Yeah.
He didn't document this?
No, because he was on stage DJing. Thank God.
I could just hear him, hey, squish. Hey.
Man, listen.
Every time I got you, hey, Verb, look at the go-kart right here.
Bro, when I came back, when I got to my feet, and I looked over and saw the knobs and the faders broke off of the man's mixing board. My go-kart was all smashed up. The wheel was broke off. I literally had to put my go-kart in the body shop. Shouts out to my man, Brandon Bebb. Fixed it up for me. It was a mess, man. It was a mess. And that I won't be drinking and driving ever again. You know, I get a DUI on stage. And then, look, add insult to injury, we find out Dre and Snoop wasn't drinking Hennessy at all.
What?
They drink the Hennessy and hold the bottles. Before the show, they pour apple juice into the bottles and take the apple juice bottles on stage. And I'm sitting up there like, these dudes is down. And like, they would stop and just take a big swig of Hennessy and everybody be like, yeah! Shh. They was fine. They didn't have no Hennessy. We up there taking swigs and everybody like, yeah! And boy, we was zombies by the end of the show. I just tell you, made a rookie mistake. It is what it is. But I still say, shouts out to Dr. Dre. Thank you for involving me. It was the greatest tour in history, the Up and Smoke tour. There'll never be another one. And I had the experience of opening it, and it was wonderful, man.
Well, that's it for this week's show.
Actually, hold on.
Okay.
We're recording today and it's Labor Day, so I want to give a little shout out to small businesses. This is my man Trent Goodlum right here. This is his line. It's called Goodlum. We'll show y'all a picture of the back so you see what that means. And this right here This is my Sarah brother, Mr. Antonio Crow with Selfish Society. I told you I was going to get it in, bro. I got you right here. Look him up. We're going to put his website, put both of their websites in the comments here today. And look, small business, that's where it's at. I want to dig a little deeper into that. A lot of my guys have construction businesses, infrastructure businesses that they own. And I've been working with a cat who is really doing some great things in this space. His name is Stefan Montgomery. The name of his company is MSS Strategic Partners. So you know these big infrastructure projects, right? Like the tunnels and the bridges and all these government contracts. Well, what I didn't know is that a portion of that work has to be earmarked for small businesses, right? SBEs, DBEs. And this is a incentivized program to give up to 30% of the work on these major projects to small businesses. So any of you guys out there, man, you got a plumbing business, you got a trucking hauling business, if you lay pipe.
Not like that, folks, okay? Not like that. Look, but like that too sometimes. I mean,
listen, really. Look, welding, just across the board, man. Cabling, all of the things that it takes to make big infrastructure projects work. Look, get with my man Stefan. We're gonna post the link. We're gonna post his number because his company is a bridge between prime contractors and small businesses within infrastructure. And a lot of y'all, man, I've learned so much about, you know, a prime contract could make a generation of wealth for a small business. So, and once you get your foot in the door, you can kind of stay in there. So this guy's got a wealth of information on his site, on his Instagram page. So we're gonna post the link. Y'all go there, man, check it out. Hit Stefan up if you got any questions about how to get your business in front of these prime contractors, because look, a lot of y'all got the talent, man. I'm specifically speaking to some of my homeboys. I know the education y'all got, right? We Sarah men, all hell, baby. Y'all need to be at the next level. You need to get yourself to the next level. And my man Steph is really doing a good job of creating that bridge, you know, between the ones that are out here working on their small businesses and you know, building this country. This country has a failing infrastructure system, and there have been billions and billions of dollars earmarked to fixing our bridges, our roads, our tunnels, and all of these other things. So you guys got to be involved, and I know the man to get you there. Just want to use the platform, bro. It's our platform. We can use it for whatever we want. We got friends with small businesses. Y'all need to get it.
Well, check out the stuff in the comments for all the small businesses. If you got one small business, drop your small business in the comments as well, so we can go ahead and see if we can support that way.
Absolutely.
For TQ, I'm Joe. We'll see you next week on the Franchise Podcast. Follow us on all social media, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel.